Uh, Me, I was born and raised in Cali, like California, but like I live in Washington.
Yeah.
Like, I've lived here since I was like 13. And I'm like 28. Now, so like getting close to the 30s. Like just pretty much just middle aging it. Like getting through like just most of like what's kind of like beyond the door, so to speak. And yeah. Um,
Well, tell me about your home life, 1 to 13. What's going on?
from 1 to 13, um, I want to say that's like culture rules. And then from 13 on, I would say rules of culture. Because at least one thing I noticed from like both states is that even though Washington is only like a state or two above, just from Oregon on, it's literally completely different than Cali. And that's the thing is like, to be able to speak like socially and like do things like naturally is like seen as like its own thing here versus like in Cali where it's like it's just another day type thing. So I think because of that it just kind of like makes it to where by the time 13 moves on into every year from, it's like the building blocks are already there. So by the time I move here, there's like nothing really more to learn. There's just more things to kind of like discover. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's always more.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's the thing is like I'm gonna like be one of those that like at least definitely tries to make a note on like what that would be for me, no matter where it's at that I'm at. So then whatever it is makes it to how that kind of like tails on into.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, when you were growing up, who raised you? Do you have brothers and sisters? Was it typical, or was it, I don't know.
Well, in California, honestly, it was like kind of like a split like life for me. I have because my parents had split when I was younger, but like because of that, like ironically, it's what kind of led me into Washington was that I was kind of like split between two households, and in one I'm like an older brother, and in one I'm an only child. So I have that weird dynamic of having both.
You had to navigate, each time you went there, you had to navigate that and adjust, and then adjust to the other place too.
Yeah, and it's like the adjustments are like, as abrupt as like kind of ironically moving into a different state would be the best way I put it. So it's like ironically moving to a different state wasn't a challenge for me as much as I felt like it would have been just because of smaller things like that.
That experience, that's interesting. And it was just you, well, let's see, just you in one home, and you said you were the older sibling?
Yeah.
To a step, or a not step, sorry, half, or I don't know.
Yeah, half brother.
Half brother.
And half sisters. So it's like, my siblings, like, are like kind of like, in a way, because of it, it's like, like, I kind of treat them like my kids a little bit if I had any, because I'm only 28, but it's like, because it's like I have both like homes, it's like I know, like, they could fib or not to me, especially from being where they're from and moving on. Like, I got to really see, and be in a lot more. So, like, anytime I'm bringing that back, whenever I see them, like, it's the only drawback is that I honestly don't get to see them as much as I would like to, because, like, they're back in Cali.
They're still in California.
Yeah, but it's like, because of that, though, I'm able to, like, at least have something to bring. no matter where it is that, I'm at. So it definitely made like moving like from when I was 13, like more like worth the experience.
Yeah.
Because like I still had per se brothers and sisters here, and ironically because of that, like every time I came back, I'd had to remind myself in a different bunch of ways that, there's no way to like, there's no way to shorten or be different from where you're at, because at least knowing that, like, it really does keep me grounded, because it's just, it's just where I'm from. And honestly, that being that it's the bigger state, it makes it to where, like, I could really be, out here on my own and do the things I need to. And by the time, I get done with anything, I can truly bring all of that there.
Yeah. Now, when you were, let's see, was this your mom or dad's side that your siblings were with?
Oh, my dad's.
So your dad. So when you came up here to Washington, they stayed with your dad?
Yeah.
And who did you come up here to Washington with?
My mom.
So your mom and you came up to Washington. And at 13, you don't really have a choice. You're just like, we're moving.
Yeah.
Which must have been tough, I can imagine.
Yeah, there are definitely some things like I had to kind of get used to, like, especially in a place like Cali. Like, for example, like me even calling it Cali, for example. While it's a native term, even that's already the amount of difference from like me being younger and older, and then me also knowing what it is. Like it kind of gave me both senses of that realization of knowing what it is, like whether I'm from there or not, just saying Cali isn't quite the same as saying California. But to me, because of the things that I went through, it's hilarious. I get the chance to say that,
Well, let's see. When you're 13, were you like in 8th grade? 9th grade? 8th grade?
Yeah, well, just about. It's like I spent the last bit of middle school up here.
Okay, so you went into middle school like in 8th grade, and then went to high school and did that. What was going on in high school?
Well, pretty much like because no one really knew me from like the like elementary era. It's like it was a new fresh start for me, which kind of helped out because it's like I'm not bringing in what people remember from such and such year at such and such point. Honestly, I gotta really make a point to say that like that kind of divvied up a lot of the drama that could have been from either or in perfect halves. So no one dealt with too much. So I couldn't change that, honestly.
Any sports or anything in high school, or whatever? I don't know.
Ironically, yeah, that's the thing. Having those two halves, got to do like basically just like every type of sport. I did football, basketball, track. Just I got the freedom to be able to do all of that. So it's like, I was like, I feel like I might as well take advantage of it.
Yeah, great. I'm curious too, I noticed you have a partner.
Yeah.
Are you open to talking about that process of like coming out, or what would that look like at whatever age?
Well, I mean,
was it smooth? Was it not? I don't know.
I mean, the best way I could put it is that because, I'm an older brother, whoever it is that I would be dating, no matter who it is, I'd have to let them know about them in some type of way, shape, or form. And so, like, only thing about my partner is that, like, I appreciate them. I see them as my other half. And so it's like, when doing anything, like, I don't have to really worry about anything that, like, I feel like is going to make me, like, different you know, so I'd have to be different in front of somebody else, you know. So that's kind of like the refreshing part about being who I'm with, and the fact that I had the background of being from Cali and then moving here made it to where it's like as I kept going more and more, like I really didn't have to be anybody else.
Good.
So that really kind of paid off in the end, especially when it comes
I think
to
it's like so important to be our true authentic selves. Just it is so, well, for my own philosophy and for who I am, it's like that is so vital for me. It took me a long time to get there. For me, I'm glad that you know yourself.
Oh yeah, it's a everyday process, honestly.
It is. I think you're right. Well, let's see. You finish high school, then what happens?
Honestly,
Or if you finish high school, I don't know.
I did a combination of things, really. Expectations of college and all that, and then family, and then different like life paths as far as like jobs. Kind of like sporadically went, because it's like that's the thing is like if we were to be having this like conversation like even 4 years ago, there'd still be a bunch of different things within those 4 years. Like it's ironic, but even though like I'm out here, I feel as if like I at least got enough of like actual life lived to kind of know what it is out here, because I've at least managed to do like a little bit of everything, you know, like industry work, social work, sales, computers, just as far, military, so like volunteering, self, like self studies as far as like just building your own company, so that when you're your own
Entrepreneurship, kind of.
yes, there we go. I was gonna say enterprise, but that's way too no, but something like that.
Well, what's going on in your 20s? Let's see, you're working a lot and you're living where?
Well, mainly just like cause my mother's like over based in like Tacoma, so not even too far from here. So I'm like kind of building both backgrounds in a way where it's like I'm able to kind of be able to still do my own thing, even as far as just being in Seattle. So it's like I'm just more and more kind of like doing my own thing, which is kind of what I appreciate, because it's like that makes a lot of the things that I do things that kind of just come from me. So that enables me to truly kind of be governed enough to be able to know what it is that I would at least like to do, even if I'm not necessarily doing it. So I think that alone, plus my partner, actually makes it to where like no matter what the struggle is, I'm like able to still like see the way out. And so like for me, there's no real like time period on really anything, because I have at least beat the social background of, well, you got to do this, this, you know. Well, that and having siblings, you know, pushes it to where it's like, you know, I couldn't not, you know, like complete or finish certain things, you know, because whatever it is I bring, even if it were, it sounds morbid, but even if it were just my dead body, you know, I'd have to bring that myself. Like, is the type of at least attitude I come with, so as to just be at least realistic enough with whatever it is I do out here. You know.
Well, Karim, how long have you been on the streets?
I'm 28. I'd say about last 4 years.
And how did that transition happen 4 years ago?
It was when I was like doing art in the city. So it's like I sacrificed a few different things for the ability to kind of be more free, but at the lack of like solidified cash. But I made that decision because I knew how to be able to actually do the things that are necessary to really make a foundation, if that makes sense, versus just acquiring money. Because I was working at the airport before actually, and then I found, I was making pretty good money there, but then I found a way to like actually be able to do that whilst at least saving the amount of money being made or being spent, and actually like utilizing every like dollar like well, so as to know like, yeah, kind of boiling those things down, like what it is I truly want, how it is to go after that, and let alone being with the partner, like how it is to take care of yourself, how it is to be there for you and be there for them,
So
all those things.
So you said that you came to the city to do your art. You're talking about Seattle?
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious what type of art you do.
Well, it's like I'm part of an art label, kind of. There's this group called Ghostly Connection, where it's like each person kind of brings a different thing to the group. You have actual musicians, painter artists, dancers, photographers, sound artists. I was doing more just a little bit of like construction into engineering as far as like sound, photography, and media. So I was doing tours and whatnot. So like I have a few videos on YouTube with my collective doing that, like actually giving tours of Seattle and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that, and also like spoken word. So
Nice.
I kind of balanced those out from day to night, as I was doing that for most of the mid-20s, and I at least got to meet a lot of good like gurus per se of like the craft, especially in the area. So it's like, depending on what I want to do and where I want to go with that, I kind of go directly to them and really speak to them on a direct basis.
You're like mentors. You found some mentors.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah, and say that I at least want to do this.
So
and do
if
that.
I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying you kind of transitioned to Seattle and gave up wherever you were living and to do your art and you
it's
started
like,
living on the streets.
Yeah, so it's like let's say the successive like rate of expectation to reality was going one way. Only right now is it really able to do that possible flip that I needed to do, to really take expectation and reality to where that actually meets the flow into where that needs to be. So it's when I have an expectation versus my parents or my friends or my family that can be met only at certain things, and whether or not I take that on or not, it's up to me to finish it. So here is where like it's kind of a joke, I use it, but if you read a book called Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, like the second one.
Oh, my girls love that stuff.
Oh, that's what's up.
Seen the movie and everything.
That's what's up. Well, it's like that older brother, like he was actually pretty smart is the thing, but like all the expectations and things that he wanted to do kind of like made him look the way he looks. And the one thing I take from it is that like if you need certain things done, I learned later to don't force it, but you set your expectations to where it is people do see you, and you naturally perform. You don't outperform, you don't underperform, you don't perform. You just perform. So you get the job met, and people, rate or acclaim to what it is that you've gotten done, and you can take that feedback, and it's still useful. You take it, you say thank you, you review it, and you go about to where it is that you perform at your margin. So it kind of works.
Yeah, right. How did you meet your partner?
I met them through doing art, actually.
And
in
their
the city as
pronouns are them?
Yeah, he, him.
Okay.
And yeah, I met them through doing art. So it's like, honestly, it's good to be out here with someone that has the same type of passions like as me, because like at the very least, it's like because of just where we're at mentally as well, like none of us are going to see the other really slow down. So yeah, it kind of works, and like I said, that older sibling aspect, I always bring back home the family. So it just, it balances right now.
Well, you brought up your siblings. Are you in contact with them at all? Your mom, your dad, or anybody?
Well, yeah, but I do have to like improve the contact with them. Like sometimes, like it's like being out here, you come into like a lot of like natural, literally very natural, like urban decayances, Like I said, like I wasn't afraid to take up my whole spot down, because at least for me, I'm the type of person that I can rebuild this, For me, the issue isn't having, whereas a lot of people, it could be the smallest stuff, like having such a solidified root in something. That's the issue. For me, it's what it is metaphorically, and where that brings me. So, if it means like tearing it all down and like drying out my stuff over there, and, working, with my,
And my guess is you've been swept before in your 4 years.
Yeah.
Several times like this.
Yeah. And so it does make me wiser, and it makes me a lot more focused as to what it is that I want to do with whatever it is I get next, because that's actually a big thing as far as the housing and the homelessness thing of its entirety. Is it's a lot more than just the homelessness. It's about what it is, or what you would like to do afterward as that opportunity comes to any individual, as far as where it is you see the change, how it is to really keep that going and extend it. So a lot of that is just keeping it flowing to make sure that you don't have it missed on making the right type of connection, no matter what it is. Because if someone's handing you like $1 million, people say they wouldn't miss that, but it's like the reality of living reality makes you realize otherwise. And so it's a good thing that I have both, so as to be able to really not only notice whenever that would come, but also be able to be realistic with myself and be like, is this for me? Do I grab this? Does this fit with X, Y, and Z that I need? Versus something that it is that it looks like I could want.
Yeah, interesting. Well, that kind of, I guess a couple questions. First question, have you had that opportunity for housing?
Once before, slightly, but it wasn't really continuous as much as I felt like was necessary in certain ways. It's also because the transitioning to getting completely out from the streets is kind of difficult in its own means.
How so? Tell me about that.
Well, the sweeps thing doesn't really help, but also something like this, ironically, these are the time periods where it's like when these things fresh happen, like this, for example, where it's like I kind of want to hit the ground running and really see what it is that I want to do as far as like rebuild and how that's going to look like. Whether it just be right here or it be getting like improved housing. And then how prepared are you with that? With that being said, I'm not sure if I have too much time because I actually gotta go to my partner.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I got one last question before we wrap up that I like to ask.
No worries.
Karim, is there anything you'd want the people of Seattle to know?
The biggest thing I'd say is that because everywhere you go is different than where you're already at, a lot of people I've heard, even living in Seattle, you could live here 20, 30 years and still never live here. I can say that I live here. That's not really very... If I think about the depth of it and the amount of different things that takes and what that even says, like, that's a blessing as big as God, in my opinion. Because let alone the pricing or whatever, like it is what it is to live here. You know, for me to say I live here means that I made it as far as that. Now what that means and how that like goes forward and how that looks, that's a whole nother thing. If there's anything I would want to say to Seattle is like, no matter where you're at, if you're here, be where you're at is kind of the same rule, like almost where I'm from, you know, because that's what they would say in California, you know, it's not where you're at, it's where you're from, or, you know, and to know that that same rule applies here and really helps me out with what it is that I'm doing, because it really isn't the same thing, new scope. It really is here and what I choose to do with it. So otherwise, I just say anything is possible, you know, because like I'm here 1 minute and it's not that I would be anywhere else next. It's what I would be doing, you know. So that means a lot to me, you know. Whatever it is that I choose to do. And then also, if I'm any different than what I am now, I'd say the same freedom for anyone to still speak to me as if I'm right here right now. So my door would be open. So if that changes, please let me know. Me know directly. You know
Karim, thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Let me grab that little...